Congratulations on making it to this point in your retirement planning process. If you're watching this video, it means that you must be getting close to retirement, and that's fantastic. So we hope that this video gives you all of the information that you need to be able to make the informed decisions that are best for you in terms of planning for your retirement. So I'm just going to highlight for you the tips that we give to people when they retire. We've retired people for 30 years, and so we know quite a lot about the retirement planning process. So let's get started. The first thing that you need to do is to collect as much information together as you can about not only what your current financial position is today, but also what your expectations need to be for the future. A lot of retirees get a little bit stuck on the expenditure piece, but it's the expenditure piece that is arguably the most important piece for you moving forward. Look at not only your expenditure from this is what our required money to live on is, but also look at your luxury expenditure items, so your planned holidays, and whether you want to renovate your house, or whether you want to downsize and change home, or whether you want to buy new cars, and then expand that out over the course of your retired life. So what that means is that you might say, well, we would upgrade a car every 7 years. We would potentially want to go on holidays once every year overseas, or once every 2 years overseas, and we have a budget. Without actually needing to know where you're going, you might be earmarking and say, well, every 2 years we want to spend $20,000 on an overseas trip, and we want to do that for the first 10 years or the first 15 years, at which point you might be thinking we're probably a little bit past travel when we get into our 70s or 80s. So plan out what you want to do and how much you expect to spend while you're doing it, and that becomes a really sensible baseline for building what's called a financial model for your retirement plan. And the reason that this is so important is that if you don't do this well, when you build your retirement planning strategy, you will actually still have in the back of your mind this fear that you may run out of money, or that you may not have calculated correctly how much you need to live comfortably in retirement. Now, the reason that this is important is that retirees who don't plan well at this stage when they're preparing for retirement spend a lot of their retired life worried about whether they're going to have enough money. And what we've experienced with those people is that their solution to worry is to choose not to do things. So rather than calculating whether they can afford to go on overseas holidays, what they'll actually do is choose not to go on the overseas holiday, because they just don't know whether spending $20,000 or $30,000 will put them in a situation where they may be out of cash when they turn 85 or 82 or sometime in the future. And so this is why getting all of your information together about what your current assets and liabilities becomes critical. Now, the second thing that you need to do is look at your investments, and particularly the investments that you've got, and whether you're getting the right returns on your investments, because this will have a material impact on how your lifestyle plays out into the future. So there's a graph that we're going to show you that shows a couple of different investments. One's an investment portfolio that we've been looking after. One is the Australian All Ordinaries Accumulation Index, so shows you how the Australian share market's been performing. And then one is an index that shows you both the growth and the high growth returns on investment portfolios of different investors, and these indexes show you the average of different categories of investments that are used within Australia. If I had my money invested, what return would work for me, and what return would afford me the lifestyle that's important for me, and how much risk am I prepared to take? Now, these are all important questions, but remember that if you're retiring now, also think about your life expectancy and how long that money is going to be invested. And so if you take a conservative position on how you invest your money, it may also be costing you in the future, because those low returns may mean that you begin to eat into your capital sooner rather than you had hoped to. So take the time to look at your investments carefully. The third point that I'd like to make is that if you can get Centrelink benefits, then it's worth doing the exploration to work out what you're entitled to. So a couple can actually receive at a maximum level over $35,000 a year from the government as an age pension. Now, whilst you may not think that that's terribly relevant, understand this. If your income requirements are, say, $50,000 a year, and the government's giving you $35,000 a year, then you only need to draw from your savings $15,000 a year. And what that means is that your savings and your accumulated capital will actually continue to support you for a lot longer than had you needed to draw the $50,000 from your own savings. So look at Centrelink benefits and whether you're entitled to the age pension. Once you've got all of that information together, what's important is that you model it up. Now, there are a lot of online calculators that you can use, and they are okay. In fact, we've got our own online calculators that we encourage other people to use. But I think it's worth just taking the opportunity to look at what it means to model really, really well. I haven't seen any calculators online that give you a comprehensive retirement planning financial model, and so this is what people come to us for. But just think about this. When you model your retirement plan, what you really want to do is take what your current assets are, so your home, your super, your investments in cash, maybe your investment properties, if you've got any shares, put all of that into the melting pot to build what's called your balance sheet or your personal assets. Then what you need to do is look at your expenditure requirements, and not only your expenditure requirements today, but what they are in the near term, whether they're going to change in the future because maybe children are leaving home, whether they're going to change in the future because you've got weddings that you might want to factor in or holidays. So build a really comprehensive expenditure and cash flow model, and then look at the returns that you're going to be getting. Then you need to blend in Centrelink, then you need to blend in the investment returns that you're going to get relative to your expenditure. You also need to blend in tax, and if you get into the really complex areas, you will also need to perhaps blend in family discretionary trusts and or self-managed super fund assets and pensions and the different tax treatments for your retirement savings pensions and also your non-superannuation pensions and or savings. So to build a really comprehensive retirement planning strategy, then you actually probably want to see a retirement planning expert. If you're interested, send us an email and we'll send you a sample of what a good retirement planning financial model looks like. That way you can get a feel for what happens when you do a comprehensive retirement planning financial plan, which is actually a financial model which shows a whole lot of numbers and a whole lot of assumptions and a whole lot of different calculations to determine whether someone can live comfortably for the rest of their life. That's what you really want to do, because when you're doing your retirement planning, I can guarantee you that you will be most comfortable and most happy with your decision to retire if and only if you are confident that you will have enough money to live comfortably year on year on year for the whole of your retired life. And that's what we do at Retirement Services Australia. And finally, I think it's really important that you take the time to understand what you want from a person that may be giving you advice. So for a lot of our retirees, we build them a strategy, but after the strategy's built, that's all we really need to do. We sort of set them on their merry way, and we might help them with their asset management, but we're not charging them fees in an ongoing capacity to do financial planning all the time, because a lot of people don't actually need that. And so it's important that when you look for a retirement planning support party, whether it be Retirement Services Australia or anyone else, that you understand what their fees are and what the services are that they're providing for those fees. So what I would suggest to you is that you can go to somewhere like ASIC's Money Smart website, which provides really great information on the sorts of questions that you might want to ask a retirement planning expert or a financial planner or any other professional for that matter that may be helping you with your retirement strategy, whether it be your accountant or anyone else. And so take the time to do your research, plan well, ask all the right questions, and of course this is what we do. So if you have any questions at all, you are very welcome to give us a call and ask us your questions or make inquiries, and if we can't help you directly, we will certainly point you in the right direction. But it's worth noting that we do retire a lot of people. We also invest a lot of people's retirement money for them. We also help people with their retirement planning strategies and Centrelink and establishing self-managed super funds and building investment portfolios and optimizing tax so that people pay little or no tax in retirement. This is our job. This is what we specialize in, and we'd be really happy to help you. So feel free to give us a call if you need some guidance. Have a great day.